Hello, everyone. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, Gilligan's Island was more than just a sitcom. It became a nightly tradition in American homes. Audiences loved Gilligan's clumsy humor, the skipper's fiery temper, and Ginger's unforgettable charm. That small television series shaped pop culture for decades. But behind the laughter, time quietly changed everything. Some cast members spent their final years far from Hollywood. And looking back today no longer feels like simple nostalgia, but like revisiting a lost piece of youth. Eunice "Lovey" Howell, portrayed by Natalie Schafer at the age of 63, became one of television's most beloved comedic socialites. Raised in luxury and surrounded by wealth, Lovey suddenly found herself stranded on a deserted island after the disastrous shipwreck, forced to adapt to a life far removed from elegance and comfort. Despite her refined manners and glamorous appearance, she often became the gentle, emotional center of the group, quietly easing conflicts between her husband, Thurston Howell III, and the others. Her charming humor, warmth, and surprisingly compassionate nature allowed the character to rise far beyond the usual stereotype of a wealthy, upper-class woman. Natalie Schafer was born on November 5, 1900, in New York, and first earned recognition through Broadway before moving into television. The role of Lovey transformed her into a pop culture icon late in life. Though admired on screen, her private years were often quiet and lonely. She passed away from liver cancer on April 10, 1991, at age 90. Thurston Howell III, portrayed by Jim Backus at the age of 51, became one of the most memorable comedic millionaires in American television history. Wealthy, arrogant, and accustomed to commanding everyone around him, Thurston suddenly found himself trapped on a deserted island where money and social status meant absolutely nothing. That contradiction became the source of the character's humor and charm. A man who once possessed unimaginable wealth could no longer buy a proper meal or even a radio to call for rescue. Despite his vanity and constant complaints, Thurston gradually revealed a surprisingly human side, turning him into both a satire of the American elite and one of the series' most lovable personalities. Jim Backus was born on February 25, 1913, in Ohio, and first became famous as one of America's most recognizable voice actors, especially for the legendary cartoon character Mr. Magoo. His success as Thurston Howell III cemented his status as a lasting pop culture figure. On July 3, 1989, Backus passed away at the age of 76 from pneumonia complications related to Parkinson's disease. Jonas the Skipper Grumby, portrayed by Alan Hale Jr. at the age of 43, became one of the warmest and most unforgettable captains in sitcom history. As the man responsible for the ill-fated voyage that stranded everyone on the island, Skipper carried a deep sense of guilt and saw protecting the group as his greatest responsibility. Though he constantly lost patience with Gilligan and the endless chaos surrounding him, beneath the shouting was genuine affection, often treating Gilligan more like a son than a crewmate. His strength, loyalty, and willingness to face danger first made Skipper the emotional protector of the stranded castaways, and one of the show's most beloved characters. Alan Hale Jr. was born on March 8, 1921, in Los Angeles, and spent years in supporting roles before achieving lasting fame as the Skipper. The character became so iconic that many fans addressed him by the role's name in real life. Although the success limited later acting opportunities, Hale embraced his popularity through restaurants, public appearances, and fan events. He passed away from thymus cancer on January 2, 1990, at the age of 68. Gilligan, portrayed by Bob Denver at the age of 29, became one of the most iconic clumsy comedy characters in television history. As the young and innocent sailor stranded on the island, Gilligan constantly acted on impulse and unintentionally ruined nearly every rescue plan the group attempted. Yet beneath the endless chaos was a deeply kind and sincere heart that made him impossible to dislike. While the others often argued under the pressure of survival, Gilligan brought a childlike energy that kept hope and laughter alive. No matter how badly things went wrong, he always tried to help others, creating many of the unforgettable moments that turned the character into a lasting symbol of American sitcom television. Bob Denver was born on January 9, 1935 in New York and became a beloved television comedian known for his charmingly naive style of performance. The success of Gilligan made him a household name across America, though it also caused audiences to forever associate him with the role. In his later years, Denver enjoyed a quieter life focused on radio broadcasting and family. He passed away on September 2, 2005, at the age of 70 from cancer-related complications and pneumonia. The Professor, Roy Hinckley, portrayed by Russell Johnson at the age of 40, became the intelligent and steady presence many viewers saw as the group's greatest hope for survival. As a science professor with remarkable knowledge, Roy could build radios, electrical systems, survival tools, and countless inventions using only crude materials found on the island. While the others often panicked or argued, the professor remained calm, relying on logic and science to solve problems. He served as the intellectual center of the stranded castaways. Yet what truly made the character beloved was not only his brilliance but also his patience, kindness, and quiet sense of responsibility toward everyone around him. Russell Johnson was born on November 10, 1924, in Pennsylvania, and served in the United States Army Air Forces during World War II, surviving several near-death experiences before entering acting. The role of the professor turned him into a symbol of television intelligence during the 1960s, helping make science feel approachable to American audiences. Johnson passed away from kidney failure on January 16, 2014, at the age of 89. Mary Ann Summers, portrayed by Dawn Wells at the age of 25, became the perfect image of the sweet and relatable girl next door for American television audiences in the 1960s. Raised on a small farm in Kansas, Mary Ann brought kindness, hard work, and a deeply compassionate heart to the stranded group on the island. Surrounded by larger personalities like the wealthy Howells, glamorous Ginger, and the hot-tempered Skipper, she became the emotional calm within the chaos. Mary Ann often cared for meals, comforted others during difficult moments, and helped preserve a sense of family while hope of rescue slowly faded. Her warmth and sincerity made her one of the most beloved characters of the series. Dawn Wells was born on October 18, 1938, in Nevada, and first gained public attention as Miss Nevada before finding lasting fame as Mary Ann. Although the role overshadowed much of her later career, she remained active in theater, writing, and charitable work for children. In her later years, Wells faced financial and health struggles but stayed deeply appreciated by fans. She passed away from complications related to COVID-19 on December 30, 2020, at the age of 82. Ginger Grant, portrayed by Tina Louise at the age of 30, became one of the most glamorous and unforgettable sex symbols of classic television. As a Hollywood movie star suddenly stranded on a deserted island, Ginger was forced to leave behind the luxury, fame, and constant attention that once defined her life. Yet beneath the beauty and elegance was a clever, resourceful woman who repeatedly helped the group survive dangerous situations. Whether through charm, quick thinking, or her talent for performance, Ginger often found ways to manipulate tense moments in the group's favor. More than simply a glamorous celebrity, she became a symbol of resilience hidden beneath sophistication and fame. Tina Louise was born on February 11, 1934, in New York, and had already built a respected career as a model and actress before worldwide fame arrived with Ginger Grant. Despite later film and theater work, the public continued to see her as television's ultimate stranded island beauty. Now at 92, she remains the last surviving main cast member, living quietly while enjoying reading, writing, and charitable work supporting children in need. The radio announcer, voiced by Charles Maxwell at the age of 54, became one of the most haunting and memorable presences in the series despite rarely appearing on screen. The voice coming through the island's old radio carried more than news from the outside world. It represented hope, reminding the stranded castaways that normal life still existed somewhere beyond the endless ocean surrounding them. In many ways, the unseen announcer symbolized the world they had lost forever. Maxwell's calm, resonant voice carried both warmth and mystery, making every radio broadcast feel comforting yet quietly heartbreaking, especially for characters desperate to return home after years of isolation. Charles Maxwell was born on December 28, 1913 in Texas, and spent decades working across American radio, Western films, and television. Known for his distinctive storytelling voice, he became part of the fading golden age of radio before television fully took over popular entertainment. Though never considered a major Hollywood star, his voice remained instantly recognizable to audiences of his generation. Maxwell passed away from cancer on August 7, 1993, at the age of 83. Various island guest characters portrayed by Vito Scotti at the age of 47 turned every unexpected arrival on the island into a moment of chaos, comedy, and surprise. Whether appearing as a mysterious sailor, an eccentric aristocrat, a foolish criminal, or a suspicious merchant, Scotti brought each role to life with remarkable energy and unpredictability. His characters often disrupted the stranded group's fragile routine, creating some of the show's most memorable and entertaining situations. What audiences loved most was his extraordinary ability to make every bizarre personality feel believable, as though these strange visitors truly belonged to a much larger world beyond the isolated island. His versatility and expressive comedic timing made each appearance instantly unforgettable. Vito Scotti was born on January 26, 1918, in California to an Italian-American family, and became one of television's most recognizable guest performers during the golden age of sitcoms. Admired for his theatrical skill and comedic flexibility, he appeared in countless legendary programs throughout his career. Though never a traditional Hollywood superstar, Scotti earned deep respect within the industry as a performer capable of elevating an entire episode through charm and experience alone. He passed away from cancer on June 5, 1996, at the age of 78. Various eccentric guest characters, portrayed by Hans Conried at the age of 47, brought a surreal and unpredictable energy to the already chaotic world of the island. Whether appearing as a mysterious magician claiming supernatural powers or as an eccentric gentleman with bizarre ambitions, Conried's characters often felt as though they had wandered in from another dimension entirely. Each appearance pulled the stranded castaways into situations balancing between fantasy and comedy, creating episodes that felt strange, theatrical, and unforgettable. With his expressive voice, dramatic delivery, and unique comedic style, Hans transformed even the most absurd characters into entertaining highlights that added a dreamlike quality to the series. Hans Conried was born on April 20, 1917, in Baltimore, and became one of America's most recognizable voice actors and comedy performers. His unforgettable voice appeared in numerous classic Disney productions and legendary television programs throughout the 20th century. Despite his professional success, years of demanding work eventually took a serious toll on his health. Hans Conried passed away on January 5, 1982, at the age of 64 due to cardiovascular complications. Clayton Feldman, portrayed by Nehemiah Persoff at the age of 45, brought an unusual sense of maturity and emotional weight to the island's often lighthearted world. Unlike the louder comedic personalities surrounding him, Feldman carried the quiet mystery of a man shaped by hardship long before arriving on the island. He appeared stern and cautious, observing others with guarded eyes, while slowly revealing a deep loneliness and a desire to belong somewhere again. Persoff's powerful internal style of acting gave the character remarkable realism, creating a striking contrast between the show's gentle comedy and the emotional scars of a man worn down by life's disappointments and isolation. Nehemiah Persoff was born on August 2, 1919 in Jerusalem, and worked as an electrician before eventually becoming one of the most respected character actors in American television and film. Known for portraying intense and hardened personalities, he was often associated with the early method acting tradition. Away from Hollywood, Persoff lived quietly and devoted much of his later life to painting. He passed away from natural causes on April 5, 2022, at the age of 102. Jungle Boy, portrayed by Kurt Russell at the age of 13, became one of the young actor's earliest memorable appearances within the strange and unpredictable world of the island. Raised apart from civilization, Jungle Boy carried a wild curiosity and untamed energy that immediately disrupted the lives of the stranded castaways. Innocent yet unpredictable, he viewed the world through entirely different eyes, creating moments that were both humorous and unexpectedly touching. Although it was only a small role during his childhood years, Russell already displayed a natural screen presence and an emotional sincerity rarely seen in actors so young, offering an early glimpse of the charisma that would later define his Hollywood career. Kurt Russell was born on March 17, 1951, in Massachusetts, and eventually rose from Disney child star to one of Hollywood's most enduring action and adventure icons. Through decades of classic films, he built a reputation for rugged masculinity and old-fashioned screen charisma. Despite career slowdowns during the late 1980s, Russell successfully reinvented himself and remained widely admired. At 75, he lives a private life with longtime partner Goldie Hawn, enjoying aviation, baseball, and family life far from Hollywood attention. Thank you for joining us as we return to memories that never truly grow old, where the laughter, the adventures on that unforgettable island, and those legendary faces still live on in the hearts of generations of viewers. If you also grew up with those moments, don't forget to follow along and continue the journey with us through more nostalgic stories, still waiting to be revisited.